Marco Bezzecchi and Jorge Martin are now separated by one single point in the 2026 MotoGP Riders' Championship. After 5 rounds, Bezzecchi leads with 128 points. Martin sits second on 127 points. Both ride for Aprilia Racing. Both have finished no worse than 4th in any Sunday race this season. And this weekend, at the Catalan Grand Prix, the championship lead will change hands at least once across the sprint and the Grand Prix. The fight between these two riders has now become the defining storyline of the entire 2026 season. Martin is leaving Aprilia at the end of the year for Yamaha. Bezzecchi has just been signed to a new long-term deal with Aprilia. The team is committed to letting them race each other without interference. And the Catalan Grand Prix is the next opportunity for either rider to take the championship lead and begin to define the rest of the season. Let us go through exactly what the championship picture looks like, what both riders have said about their rivalry, and what realistic chances each has at Catalan. From every press conference to every qualifying lap to every race result, we follow MotoGP all year, so you do not have to. Subscribe and stay in the paddock with us. Start with the championship picture. Marco Bezzecchi leads with 128 points. Jorge Martin is second on 127. The gap is 1 point. Fabio Di Giannantonio is third on 84 points, 44 behind the leader. Pedro Acosta is fourth on 83 points. Ogura is fifth on 67 points, having scored his first MotoGP podium at Le Mans. Raul Fernandez is sixth on 62 points. Marc Marquez has dropped to 7th on 57 points after his Le Mans sprint crash and double surgery. The competitive picture has become genuinely brutal. The top 2 riders are within 1 point of each other. The third-placed rider is over 40 points behind. The 2026 championship has effectively become a two-way fight between 2 Aprilia riders. Le Mans was the weekend that confirmed this dynamic. Jorge Martin delivered the most complete performance of his Aprilia career. He won the sprint from 8th on the grid with what observers described as one of the most amazing starts in living memory. He then won the Grand Prix on Sunday after starting 7th, charging through the field and overtaking Bezzecchi with 4 laps remaining. It was his first Grand Prix victory since the Indonesian Grand Prix in 2024, 588 days ago. It was his first ever Grand Prix victory on the Aprilia, and it confirmed that Martin is no longer just a rider recovering from his nightmare 2025 season. He is genuinely back as a championship contender with the same competitive pace that won him the title in 2024 on the Ducati. The other piece of the Le Mans weekend that defined the championship fight was the Aprilia 1-2-3. Together with Bezzecchi in second and Ogura in third, Aprilia secured a historic podium sweep, the first 1-2-3 for the manufacturer in MotoGP. Ogura also became the first Japanese rider on a MotoGP podium since 2012. The result confirmed not just Martin's individual return to form, but Aprilia's structural dominance across the entire team. The factory bikes are working, the satellite bikes are working, the development direction is validated. Massimo Rivola, Aprilia's CEO, was characteristically reflective when he spoke about the result. Speaking publicly after Le Mans, he revealed a story that had not been widely shared before. "It's quite a day. My first thought goes to 1 year ago here in Le Mans when Jorge wanted to leave, and today is a big reward for us, together. The choice was right, and super happy about that." That sentence is significant. Exactly 1 year before Martin's Le Mans victory, the rider had privately travelled to Le Mans and informed Aprilia that he wanted to activate an exit clause and leave the team. Aprilia objected, arguing the clause was invalid due to Martin's prolonged injury-related absence. Martin eventually relented and stayed. The relationship between Aprilia and Martin has been complex for over a year. The Le Mans victory, exactly 12 months after the dispute began, is the kind of poetic outcome that defines great seasons. Speaking after the Le Mans Grand Prix, Martin was reflective about the broader narrative of his career. "I've learned to appreciate the tough moments because they shape you. All the struggles made me a better man and rider." He has been through 18 months of injury, rehabilitation, and the difficult adjustment to the Aprilia bike. The Le Mans win was the moment that confirmed his return to top-level competition, but Martin has also been careful in his public messaging about Bezzecchi. Asked specifically about his teammate, Martin's words have been measured but pointed. In a recent interview, Martin addressed the dynamic between him and Bezzecchi directly. "Marco and I are not friends, but we are not enemies either. We respect each other a lot as riders and, above all, as teammates, and that is important to maintain harmony in the box. In the hypothetical case that something happened, which it does not have to, it would change the way the two teams work together, and that is something that would make us lose much more than what could be gained on the track by fighting between ourselves." That is the kind of statement that genuinely captures the strategic intelligence of a former world champion. Martin understands that destructive internal conflict at the factory could cost both riders more than it could gain. He is committed to professional respect, but he is not pretending the relationship is genuinely friendly. Marco Bezzecchi has been more guarded in his public statements. The championship leader has been focused on consistency, methodical performance, and avoiding the kind of mistakes that cost him points at Jerez. Speaking before the Catalan Grand Prix, Bezzecchi acknowledged the pressure. He is the first rider since Valentino Rossi in 2015 to secure a podium in the first 5 races of the season. That is the kind of consistency that builds championships. But his Saturday performance has been his weakness, with 3 sprint races resulting in crashes. The Catalan Grand Prix is an opportunity to address that. Bezzecchi has historically performed well at the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. The strategic reality for both riders is the same. Martin is leaving Aprilia at the end of the year. He has reportedly signed for Yamaha for 2027. Bezzecchi has just been confirmed on a new long-term deal with Aprilia for the 850cc era. From a long-term commercial perspective, Aprilia have already decided who is staying and who is leaving. But from a short-term competitive perspective, both riders are still racing for the championship, and Aprilia have publicly committed to no team orders unless one rider is mathematically eliminated. Aprilia have called this approach the Black Rules, inspired by McLaren's management of the Lando Norris versus Oscar Piastri dynamic in Formula One. Speaking publicly, Rivola has been clear. "I believe I have 2 riders who, in addition to being fast, are 2 great professionals. I believe they will respect each other. They know the rules perfectly, what we call the Black Rules. Management today is very simple. The only rule we have is respect. That commitment defines how Aprilia will manage the rest of the season. Both riders are free to race. Both will be held to the same standards of professional conduct. The team will only intervene if those standards break down." Now, the Catalan Grand Prix specifically. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya is a circuit that demands precise corner entry, strong corner exit traction, and balanced aerodynamic packages. The Aprilia RSGP has shown excellent characteristics across all 3 areas in 2026. Both Bezzecchi and Martin have historical experience at Barcelona. Bezzecchi has not yet won at Catalan in MotoGP. Martin has also not won at Catalan in the Premier class. The home circuit advantage belongs to Spanish riders. Alex Marquez is the Gresini Ducati rider who won at Catalan in 2025. He arrives at the circuit knowing he can challenge for victory. For the realistic chances of taking the championship lead this weekend, the math is straightforward. Sprint points award 12 to the winner, 9 for second, and so on. Grand Prix points award 25 to the winner, 20 for second, and so on. If Martin wins both the sprint and the Grand Prix, while Bezzecchi finishes second in both, Martin would gain 12 points across the weekend. If Bezzecchi wins both while Martin finishes second, Bezzecchi would extend his lead by 12 points. The competitive picture is genuinely close. Both riders are expected to fight for the front row in qualifying. Both are expected to finish on the podium. The exact order will determine whether the championship lead changes hands. The other variable at Catalan is Pedro Acosta on the KTM. The Spanish rider sits 4th in the championship and has historically performed well at his home Spanish circuit. If Acosta can deliver a strong sprint and Grand Prix result, he could close the gap to Bezzecchi and Martin. The Aprilia versus rest dynamic has been the season's defining theme, but Acosta has shown moments of competitive pace that suggest he can fight at the front when the conditions are right. Alex Marquez is the home favourite. Having won at Catalan in 2025 and at his other home circuit at Jerez earlier in 2026, Alex has the kind of momentum that translates into strong race weekends. Speaking before Catalan, multiple experts have identified him as a genuine threat for victory. If Marquez wins, he reduces Aprilia's championship lead and creates another competitive disruption. The wet weather threat is also genuine. Catalan has historically produced wet conditions in spring, and the forecast for this weekend suggests potential rain across both Saturday and Sunday. Wet weather typically favors riders with stronger Sunday discipline rather than raw pace. Both Bezzecchi and Martin have shown reasonable rain pace, but the chaotic conditions of the Le Mans Sprint also exposed both Aprilia riders to crashes. If conditions are wet at Catalan, the competitive picture could become unpredictable. For the broader championship picture, the Catalan Grand Prix is the moment that effectively decides whether the 2026 season becomes an Aprilia internal title fight or whether Acosta and Alex Marquez can reopen the broader competitive picture. If Bezzecchi and Martin both finish on the podium, the lead they have built over the chasing pack extends further. If they have inconsistent weekends, the chasing pack closes in. The strategic implications for the rest of the season are significant. What do you think? Will Jorge Martin take the championship lead at the Catalan Grand Prix, or will Marco Bezzecchi reassert himself on his teammates' first home European weekend? Has Aprilia's commitment to no team orders genuinely held, or will the pressure of the Bezzecchi versus Martin internal fight start to expose cracks in the team structure? And with Marc Marquez out and Acosta plus Alex Marquez waiting for opportunities, can any non-Aprilia rider realistically challenge the championship picture before the end of the season? Drop your predictions in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button and subscribe for more MotoGP news. I'll catch you in the next one.